Welcome back. This is TV3Newday. It's a rainy morning, and of course, we'll bring you some reports. I'm sure if you're also stuck somewhere, you can share those videos with us. Let us know exactly where you are and what the situation is. But I hope that you stay safe wherever you find yourself. It's time now for the big issues, and shortly I'll introduce my guests. But let's take a quick look at this story before I let you know who my guests are this morning. It was established almost 60 years ago to cater for the education needs of pupils in Salaga, but the St. Anthony's Junior High School block is crumbling. The facility, which was initially built as a piggery, now has deep cracks and leaks whenever it rains. Komladom reports that school authorities are helpless as many appeal to the East Gonja Municipal Assembly for some help. Unfortunately, all these appeals have yielded no results. Take a look.
These parked bicycles, dozens of them out here on the compound of a St. Anthony's Junior High School, means pupils are in class and lessons are ongoing. The school block, built in 1967 by Catholic missionaries, was to house pigs, but was later converted into classrooms. Nearly 60 years on, the structure is falling apart. The land crates used for the structure peels off at the least pressure. As a result, gaping cracks have developed on the building. Head teacher Emmanuel Zakaria Imoru tells me no amount of patch-ups has solved the problem.
The whole structure is very weak. It's made up out of land crates, not blocks. And then the sand is worn out to understand that it can no longer hold the window frames and then the door frames. So the structure is so weak that if care is not taken, any major storm can pull the whole building down. And this is a cause of worry for us as staff and the students of this school, that if urgent attention could be given, at least giving us a new structure will be of great help to us.
This school block, however weak it is, hosts 328 pupils, 175 girls and 153 boys. And for authorities here, one of the means to manage the situation is to decline fresh admissions.
We are performing, and parents and other people want their wards to be enrolled in this school. But because of the unavailability of space and the weakness of the structure, we will not be able to bring in more students and accommodate them. So it affects indirectly enrollment because we can't enroll more.
For the pupils themselves, it has become a nightmare. Mariam Awal Mohammed and Samuel Nassani fear the structure may come crashing down in no time.
As a well-noted school of this nature, and it has been performing, it does not need to have a structure of this building, because sometimes if it is even drizzling, someone doesn't want to come to school because when the person even comes to school, in class, the person's dress was normally wet.
The structure is very poor, and as you can see, in fact, sometimes even when we are learning, bad harmful creatures enter the classes, in fact, to disturb us.
In many areas in the East Gonja municipality of the Savannah region, education infrastructure is a huge challenge. And along with it comes impact on academic work, enrollment of boys and girls, school attendance and progression. For Salaga South Member of Parliament Hajia Zuera Ibrahima, the municipality faces an uphill task of eradicating poverty.
In the 2019 Ghana Living Standard Report, the East Gonja municipality was the poorest in the country. So I focused a lot on education. Last year we used MP's allocation of the GET fund to pay the fees of students from East Gonja in tertiary. This year the plan is to halve it. We use half of the GET fund allocation for fees, and then we use half to procure furniture and distribute across the constituency.
Head of Supervision at the Education Directorate, Alhaji Adams Karibi, hopes external help could come to address one of their major headaches.
We visited some schools within the municipality and saw how deplorable those conditions of schools are. It doesn't promote effective teaching and learning in the municipality. So we are asking well-meaningful Ghanaians, even within and outside the country, to come to the aid of what is Gonja.
It is a race against time now for St. Anthony's Junior High School to avert a catastrophe. But when will help come is the question they wake up to every day. Now or maybe never. Komla Adom, TV3 News, Salaga.
All right, and that is the situation at the moment. And I can imagine if it rained in that area this morning or in any of these other areas where there are struggles with, infrastructure, then you can imagine what's happening. But my guest this morning, I have lawyer Nelson Dafiamepo. He is the MP for South Dai constituency, and he joins us this morning in his all white. I'm wondering what he's celebrating this morning. Good morning.
Oh, I have a program this morning.
Oh, okay.
And it's such that white apparel.
Oh,
it's appropriate.
Okay, so it's not that you have plans of becoming finance minister eventually.
Not
so
at all.
You're getting ready.
Even if I become tomorrow, I won't. I know. I see what you are driving at.
Good to have you in the studio this morning.
Thank you.
And Bernard Mona also joins us this morning, and he is in his apparel, looking very royal. But he's a former chairman for the People's National Convention. Good morning to you.
Morning.
How are you doing?
I could have been better.
Okay. Is it the rain?
Oh no, the economic paralysis that each and every one of us, including you, is confronted with cannot permit you to be good.
Oh. Well, the president says focus on the good.
But you cannot ignore the bad. I mean, when things are not well and you pretend that things are well, you will wake up with the, as ABA Hussein would say, if you go to bed, I don't need to say that this morning.
Yeah, I was going to say that every morning you are here, we hear that. But also joining us this morning.
But just to say that we just celebrated our 66th
Yes, we did.
independence anniversary. And if you saw my tweets and my social media handles, I was questioning celebrating our independence, particularly so when there is no linkage to connect us to the united dream. We will continue to be impoverished if we continue to think that we are independent in any sense.
We're not
actually not independent at all.
We'll come to that conversation shortly, but also George AC, Mr. George AC is here, and he is the Director of Communications for NATMO. Good to have you in the studios. I can imagine what a busy morning it will be for you.
Yes, definitely.
Looking at how heavy the rains were.
Yeah, the phone was buzzing.
And he has to be here.
Yeah. Good morning, Bella.
Good morning.
Good morning to your chairman. Good morning to lawyer. And good morning to our viewers. It's always a pleasure to be on your set.
Definitely, always a pleasure to have all of you here as well. Yeah. But what's the situation? Any concerns that we should raise this morning following the rains?
They are yet to come in.
Okay.
So I'll be getting the updates right after this program. And then we can...
Were you in Ho yesterday?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, you couldn't make it?
I was in my constituency. So
okay. I see. But I mean, yesterday was a major celebration, 66 years of independence. And yet there's a school in the Gonja municipality, 60 years on.
Yeah.
And you see the state.
Yeah.
What do you say?
It's unfortunate that we are still saddled with some of these situations in our schools. I remember when the Honorable Matthew Opoku Prempeh was minister, they did auditing of infrastructure at the basic levels, and that was to give them a perfect picture of the situation on the ground. And then some buildings are cracked and all that, so they can tackle that. I don't know the state of the report now, but I believe the dynamic new minister, Dr. Yawaduchum, who is a hands-on minister, is actually going to look there. But this one, we've been getting some of these reports. Development is a gradual process, and it's being rolled out. The fortunate thing is that sometimes we can do concurrent or simultaneous development across the districts, okay? And prioritization of the resources by the district is also another issue. But our educational facilities are very important to all of us, and our attention at the district level must be focused on that. But the district agriculture situation is also there, the health situation in the district. So competing needs for the resources that is in the the district is also another thing that we need to look at. Fortunately, an ex-officio member of a district assembly is sitting here with us in the person of lawyer, the Framakpo, so he will give us a better picture of that. Beth, I would say your mission is very important. I always get excited when I'm watching it because it goes into the interior, the rural communities, sometimes in cities, and bring out clear challenges that we are confronted with. And fortunately, sometimes you get results. Yes, there's the objective, the primary objective is to get government to get in, but sometimes you get private institutions like MTN, Vodafone and others coming to assist such communities. You know, we are building a nation. We can all support. However, the primary objective is government tackling some of these things, and we know resource availability and then prioritization of challenges in there.
When you say prioritization of challenges?
Yes, for instance, I said something that the district health facility, the clinic or the hospital or the polyclinic in the district may be having challenges and ought to be tackled. Then the water situation in the district. It has to be challenged. Yes,
but this is also a disaster in waiting, and one of the mandates of NADMO is to ensure that you prevent the disaster from even happening. I mean, do you have your men going around checking some of these things?
Definitely, we do it and we report to the district assembly.
Have you ever come across this particular challenge?
No, I don't have any report on this Salaga particular one. It may be it's been given to the district or the region. You know, when we do this, they give the report. We do structural auditing and we hand it over to the assembly, and then they take steps because they have the power to, if they need to pull it down, they use the legal processes to get a court order to pull them down. Ours is to test or check the structural integrity and give the report.
Yes, now, it's not only the school that is facing challenges. According to our reporters, even the Salaga hospital also has some serious challenges. Now, what government has done is they decided to build a new hospital, and we're told that 12 years now, that hospital is still not completed. And so we have buildings where people have to work and people have to study in, and those are in very dilapidated conditions. We are not fixing those. We're building new ones, and that is also taking forever to complete.
Yes,
and you talk about prioritization. Are we really giving priority to some of these very grave issues?
So the district is then doing the prioritization. What you just said is very important. You and I are worried about the general hospital situation. You remember that?
Of course.
It was pulled down because of its nature. Okay, how, you know, people felt it's not safe for, you know, patrons to go in there, and you pull it down, and you know, resources it's not coming. The people of La are not too happy. You get it? And so it's a similar situation. If you go in there to pull that down and then resources challenged and you are not able to finish the one according to your plan, you're putting the people in danger. Okay, so we need to look at it. If it's not that bad that it can be you know, renovated, we do that. You get it? And not repeat the general hospital situation. Most of us are worried about that situation. Anytime we go around or we hear people, you know, I know the citizens have been very angry. You get it? But it's not deliberate. It's not a deliberate intention of government. Is that I'm pulling it down and I'm not starting it. The safety of the people is of concern to government. Okay, so we don't need to leave this structure there to cause problem. However, having pulled it down, we needed to have tackled head-on the new hospital.
And we are not doing that.
Yeah, but government is still committed.
How much have we spent on the independence celebration that we organized yesterday?
I don't have the figure. I don't have the figure.
But from where you sit, and with all the challenges that we face, from this school to the Salaga hospital, even to the fact that we don't have vaccines in this country, do you think that we should have had that kind of ceremony that we had yesterday? Was it necessary?
Well, I've heard some Ghanaians say because of the critical situation we are in, we should have suspended the celebration. I think, yes, the fact that we are in debt distress, okay, we're doing the debt exchange and co, we could have suspended that. But if we decide to go ahead to celebrate for the issue, if you look at the theme, unity, purpose, strength, and all that, that will bring us together, rally us around the leadership to be able to rebuild our nation. It's to motivate us to get back to work and then build our country back better. Okay, so the government maybe thought, look, yes, if we suspend it, it's good. We will save some penny or pounds. But if we go ahead, we will engender confidence and unity amongst the people to rally around, to rebuild, to have the confidence that we can get out of the ashes and build our nation.
When there are people who are hungry, there are people who are facing lots of challenges, you think that organizing one ceremony is going to encourage them?
Yes, it's the purpose. It's the message that you're sending. Okay, you put money in everybody's pocket at the go.
You don't have to put money in everybody's pocket, but you can make conditions, comfortable for everyone so that they can also find their own means of survival. That's what I said,
the situation we're in, the president admitted it in his speech and co. Yeah, so looking at that, if we had said no, let's not do the national celebration for this year, it would have been a very good, plausible decision by government. However, having gone ahead because of the theme and what we intend to send out to the Ghanaian people, I don't think it's bad.
The theme supersedes lack of vaccines for
the
babies?
Signal. Oh, no. How can I say?
Well, I'm asking you to clarify because I need to understand that it looks as if because of the theme that we're running with this year,
we got some
needed to find a way to engender some.
We need to rally people around in difficult times. When we're growing up, there's thing we call Noboa. You get it. All you need is to get food. We'll come together, go help you on your farm. Okay, and then the next time we go to lawyer's farm. The next time we go to chairman's farm, right? You get it. All you need is to get a letter to give us food. That's all. And yet you'll be able to have a big farm, vast farm, because of these, unity of purpose and supporting each other.
So, George, if I haven't fed my children at home,
yes,
but I'm an MP and I have to go and organize a party in my constituency because my people are also losing faith in me, you think that at that point when my family back home has not eaten, I should forgo them and go and organize a party just to engender some kind of unity amongst the people?
No, yes, there's this book. I've forgotten the book. I'll try and get the title. When maybe he, being a lawyer, literature person, will know the book. When the mother, there was no food at home, but encouraging, telling the children story, and then they doze off and I've forgotten the title.
No, they were cooking stones.
Stones, you get it. Put water on fire and then cooking stone, telling them stories and cool, and then they go to sleep. It's not that the that deliberately wanted to starve them.
But that's a bad analogy. That's false hope.
The means wasn't there.
That's false hope.
You get it. So she hoping that she'll get them tomorrow. She'll get something for them.
Okay.
You get it. So yes,
that's not hoping.
That's false hope.
No. That's the precarious nature of the situation at the time. That there wasn't there. I heard Dr. Kumar Bwaji, Patrick, explaining some of the bases or reasons for the challenges of the vaccines. I don't think it's we all of us should be proud to say we don't have vaccines, especially against the 6 killer diseases. Okay, and the reason why it's so, and he's assured us that within the next 2-3 weeks we'll get vaccines.
We've had the whole year. I mean, from January, we're in the 3rd month.
Yes,
we've not been able to procure vaccines, and now they're telling us that in the next 2-3 weeks. Now the question is, let's look at. No. I'm just saying that let's look at a country like Tanzania, and this is another African country, also facing some challenges. Now they decided to cancel the celebration. Of course, they marked the day, but they canceled the event that was supposed to commemorate the day, so they can invest that money in building dormitories for children with special needs. This is not the first time that they've done. In fact, this is the 3rd time they're cancelling their Independence Day celebration because they realize that instead of investing in the pomp and pageantry, let's rather develop our country one way or the other. Invest in infrastructure or something that will benefit the people. Can't we take a cue from a country like this and say that, well, for us as well, especially where we find ourselves today and the fact that we've been told that we're so broke that we have to go to IMF for a bailout, we think that it's necessary to still hold an event like this?
Bella,
when schools, there are children who are still studying under trees, schools don't have desks, I mean books, So many issues.
Bella, I know Media General is very proactive and a solid media house. Last I watched one of your reporters in Rwanda, reporting from Rwanda, and sometimes you report from the US sometimes. And so you have the capacity. Check the investment that this government is made into education and education infrastructure. Okay? Yes, we can't say you get all the schools, you know, propped up at the same time. You get it? But a lot of our schools have been improved infrastructure-wise. A lot of them. Basic, secondary education, and the university infrastructure added. Okay, under this government, a lot. And you know, first
like which one and which one?
You know, let's get to even the top schools, the Fansipams, the St. Augustine's, the Wesley Girls, and co. They get, you know, additional dormitories, assembly.
There's food shortage in some of these schools, or in fact, a lot of these secondary schools.
I'm not saying we're not having challenges. We'll have the challenges, but in spite of the challenges, there's phenomenal, massive infrastructural development going. This government took about 1.5 billion. He is a member of parliament, he knows. Mortgaged that and then invested massively in infrastructure, right? Massively in school infrastructure. That is why the double track system is gradually fading away. True or false?
Council is looking at you in shock.
No, that's he is entitled to his opinion. But what I'm saying, they are facts. He knows about the Get Fund collateralization for the 1.5 billion and massive school infrastructure that were built. These are verifiable things, Bella. So you look at that and send a reporter to Tanzania, whether they've invested so much in the educational arena, whether they are also giving free SHS and all that to get a lot of our young people on the streets out of the streets into the classrooms. Okay, we are building a nation. The future was very important. Okay, but we still have to be alive today to be able to work towards the future. That's why we are doing everything to get us out of these economic difficulties that we are in. The president has acknowledged that, and we are all going to work together to get out of that. He's bringing the SONA tomorrow, right?
Well, yes, he is. And we'll talk about expectations for that shortly. But lawyer, let me come to you before I go to Bernard. I mean, if you look at the reports that we just played for Mission Ghana and the fact that we have a number of schools like this all across the country, and not just schools. Our education, to some extent, is suffering. Our health is suffering so many challenges. Do you think that it was prudent to have a celebration yesterday when we have all these challenges in this country?
You see, the prudence of the celebration ought not to be lost on us. But the essence of doing so is completely gone. As an independent Ghana, the story that he just showed us belies the problems that we have 66 years after independence. And what is fortuitous is that the structure in question was built a year after, 11 years after our independence, or 10 years, well, 67, 57.
Yeah.
10 years. And it took missionaries to even do that 10 years after independence. And we've sat down as a people for the structure to deteriorate nearly 50 years. All right? After it was built. But the point we are making is this. As a people, it appears that this government has taken us back 50 years.
How so?
We become a dead, distressed country in a 2023 world. When we should be building on the legacies left for us maybe after 2016. Things have deteriorated since they took over in 2017. I heard the government say that he did well in 2017, 2018, 2019, but for the COVID. But what the president failed to say was that the COVID brought him a windfall. A windfall of nearly $5 billion. What is not true? Would you have gotten that money but for COVID? Who would have given you $5 billion but for COVID? So the money came because of COVID. How did we spend it? We spent $5 billion in a manner that today The Auditor General has questioned in a voluminous report. We cannot account for things that we claim we have done. So we take money, people, we are bedeviled with a disease, we are giving money, and we squander the money. Is that the mindset of an independent Ghana? Look, as we speak, we have not been able to complete one hospital project as a result of the COVID windfall that we got. The promise that we gave that we build 111 hospital projects, even that we have phased it into, we've phased the program into phases. The phase 1, which is ongoing, is uncompleted. Not a single one has been commissioned, including my own district. So where is our priority? Let's get to education. He spoke eloquently about the achievement. Where are the figures? We pay taxes. Parliament enacted a law for us to take taxes from the people, purposely for educational infrastructure and intervention. You come to government, you decide to mortgage the proceeds from that tax. To us, we're going for more money. The more money that you went in for, Bella, we cannot find it.
When you say we cannot find it,
he should tell us the infrastructure that they place the money into. What is happening to Get Fund now? It's a sad story. Every proceed that goes to Get Fund, they use it to pay the interest payable on that mortgage facility. Get Fund gets practically nothing. And the money that they got, let's see the number of contractors that Get Fund owe. So, if you mortgage the proceeds of the Get Fund levy for claims that you want to get more money to be able to pay off contractors and also undertake more infrastructure, the report that Get Fund brings to Parliament doesn't speak to these things. It was a tussle the whole of last year between some of us and the Get Fund administration, because look, if you bring a report to Parliament, for instance, and say that improvement at the tertiary level is nearly nil, building of structures, you see what's happening on our university campus, accommodation problems. We are unable to add more halls. We are unable to add more classroom blocks. Meanwhile, we claim we are expanding access to secondary education. The net effect is that there will be a greater access at the tertiary level. We are not expanding. So we are getting ourselves into a Coca-Cola model, the Coca-Cola bottle model. You create access at the base, you create access at the middle, you are constricting access at the top. And when we bring these matters to bear, they still don't appreciate it. We don't have money. Today, Electoral Commission is busy about introducing a new legislation, which is totally unnecessary. But it comes with cost.
Wow.
they have argued that it is necessary, by the way.
It is not.
But
a law exists for you to do what you are supposed to do. How do you need a new law to be able to do that? It doesn't make sense. We've asked them to justify. They've not been able to justify.
Even though she came to Parliament last week?
She gave no justification. She only came to insist on her position. And they are running the Electoral Commission like a sole proprietorship. They don't want to listen to any other view. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court says we have the power to enact, even to amend the Constitution. It is Parliament. So whatever they have is a proposal that they brought to us. So this problem, there's an ignoble sense of not accepting responsibility for anything. That any problem that this government has engendered upon us. No responsibility. Yesterday, they said that our problem as a result of Russia-Ukraine war and COVID-19. The size of this government, they don't see it. That it's such a burden on the public purse. We have special assistant to an assistant, and assistant to a deputy, and all that. Somebody sent me a photograph yesterday. And I'm a member of Parliament, so I don't want to but it offended my sensibilities.
What picture is that?
It said when at the parade ground, it was more of a parade of V8s, Toyota Land Cruisers than human beings.
And are these private Land Cruisers or are
These
these
are
cars
public, these are officials.
owned by the state?
These are officials. And so the government by its conduct is not depicting a government that is in distress. And I was hoping that as a senior officer at NADMO, he would have been directing that this structure ought not to be occupied. It's a hazard, it's a death trap. And I was hoping that he would have said that right from here, they will take steps to erect a makeshift structure whilst we take solutions to get a permanent structure for the children. Because these walls could collapse at any time, and the rains are setting in. Storms are accompanying the rains. The grounds get weakened. The walls are already cracked in many, many places with holes in them. Holes that some school children are even seen looking through. So we don't want, and we've heard of disasters where school walls have collapsed on school children. So I want to urge AEC that as a matter, so you see, some of these matters, you are the metropolitan center, so they don't come to you. But when you get the opportunity and they come to your attention, we need to prioritize them in terms of intervention and do something.
Okay.
You recall last year, no, 2 years ago, I had a classroom block completely done, ready, and powers be that won't commission. I had to get TV3 to go and cover it in Southdown. In days, it got commissioned. The children are occupying it in Karagolovima as we speak. This is the power of the media. So I think that there will be an intervention in respect of this Salaga classroom block. You know, the children, they need a conducive place to study. They don't have to study in danger. Otherwise, what's the essence of acquiring education when tomorrow you do so at the peril of your life? So let's, as officials, let's do something when some of these matters come up. And I was happy that my colleague, the Ajia, was interviewed regarding her role. Yeah. Look, there's a certain overbloated sense of this MP's common fund. It's pittance. It's pittance. And you see, and the structure is sad that we are bashed for nothing. We don't control the funds. MPs don't determine when the funds come. When it comes, you are not the disbursing officer. I cannot even get access to the bank statement of my MP's common fund. I cannot.
You can't. Why?
Because the law says I cannot have it. So it is my DC, my coordinating director, and my DFO who are signatories. So if I make a suggestion and it is turned down, that's the end of it. But it's all over the place that this is MP's common fund. I think as Parliament, we must, either we are interested in structuring this fund thing properly, or we disengage from it completely.
We'll come to this conversation about funds, but would you then say that if you look at a school like this, and I'm sure that it's gotten to the attention of government officials, if they had said that we're cancelling the celebration of the 66th independence anniversary so we can channel the funds into ensuring that this school gets a facelift, would that have been better news for you?
That's the point you made, that Tanzania, which is a close ally of Ghana, the leadership saw, they appreciate their present circumstances. So the fun, they have canceled. You see, the celebration is not about, it's an event that we are remembering. So the remembrance can take many forms. Okay. The issue is not that we should not celebrate, but the fanfare that goes with it, and the cost of that fanfare is what people are scandalized about. Tanzania is celebrating or celebrated their independence, but they didn't do so with fanfare.
So then we don't need the fanfare.
No, given our circumstances.
Okay.
That's the point you made, and you wouldn't appreciate it.
But that's what I'm asking you. That
Yes,
so when
and
you said
I agree with you.
You agree. But last year, when
year,
government had said they didn't have money, you questioned and you were saying that government says they don't have money for their 65th independence celebration,
Yes.
but they can afford to fly private jets and all that.
No, because you see...
So does that not mean that you were looking forward to a celebration?
No, again, it comes to conduct. You are saying that you don't have... Even last year when you had the levy pass for you, you say you didn't have money. So you directed that's the regional coordinating councils and to get money from the assemblies. And my assembly paid. So we raised the issue that if you say you don't have money to celebrate, to do a farm fair, as it were, at the various districts, and that the district should fund it, fair enough. But don't be flying in a private jet.
Okay.
All right? Now, if suddenly, in the year that you have declared austerity, you rather have money to do a farm fair, would it not be prudent to, for instance, this Salaga school project, school building? You see, we are also losing the fact that the building was originally a piggery. So the structural strength is not originally meant for a school structure. So it has even done well.
Yeah.
So as an assembly and as a regional administration, they ought to focus. They haven't done that, but now it's come to the attention of NADBO. And NADBO, you exist to prevent disaster, first of all. So prevent this pending disaster, NADBO. And that's what I want to urge upon AC and his outfit to do.
Bernard, I saw you scribbling down a few things. I'm wondering what exactly it was about. But, I mean, if you look at the state of the school, and like it has been rightly established, this was a piggery. Should government not have found a way to even put up a new school, maybe to some extent, just so that we can rid the children of whatever disaster may be imminent?
Let me welcome Dafe Makwe and IAC to the show. And yourself, we have had informal discussions before the start of the show.
Yeah.
And let me restate that some of us, when we see this, it just gives us a very freezing reminder of our circumstances, how we navigated through probably worse situations than this to be able to sit here. And so what I have to say is the persistent encouragement to those of our brothers and sisters, our kids, who find themselves in such terrible conditions, not to give up. Because probably we did not have a roof to sit in. As I said before, the location of my classroom was determined by the location of the weather. If the sun was to this direction, it means that your classroom had to change to the other direction. And when it was windy, it means that you cannot have a class
at all,
because the piece of wood that is put as blackboard will be flown away, and you will have to even struggle to run away.
So there was no structure for you?
There was not. I sat under an acacia tree. And when it was raining, then obviously, as soon as the clouds are formed, the teacher will be the one.
Happy.
No, the teacher will be the one to take off before you also take off. But this is a Paraku house. Paraku. You know Paraku? Big house.
Oh, Preco. Okay.
Paraku house. Paraku house converted into a classroom.
Yeah.
You know the psychology of it. That some missionaries put up this as a Paraku house to cater for pigs. And the Paraku house is suitable to be used as a classroom. And in the state that we find the house today, simply says that, look, the oracles and the God Almighty is actually the protector of these students. Because you could just go in there and looking at this structure, the wind can easily blow it off. And then we'll be struggling to save lives. Not just the structure. And so it's sickening when we have this. As I said last week or two, you see these peoples, they'll be sitting BEC, right?
Yeah.
And they'll be writing the same exam questions that students of Achimota will be writing. Students from Kita will be writing. Students from Koforudua and Kumasi, they'll be writing the same exams. The same questions will be said. No discrimination.
No.
Their local circumstances will not be factored into setting the questions. They are expected to perform as well as those who are enjoying the luxury of life. Now, if you look at the bicycles that are there, it tells you that they move from far distances. And that is how come they ride bicycles to go to school. So even to get to school, you are already fatigued. You get to school, and the environment, you may not get anything to eat. In fact, even if they are selling food, the poverty situation in the environment will not permit you to have money to buy food to eat.
School feeding.
George, did you say school feeding?
Yes.
I think Dodge is a disaster that requires management this morning. You understand? So obviously, we are in a terrible situation. And I just wanted to commend TV3 and Star Ghana for this tremendous exposés that you have been doing for the past years, that is bringing to the fore the level of, if you say silliness, they will say you are insulting. Silliness that accompanies the way we run the affairs of this country. And I get weakened that the church, this is St. Anthony, and I'm sure that will be a Catholic church.
Catholic, yeah.
The Catholic church
was built by the
Catholic church for pigs, for Preku. It was built for pigs, not for students.
Original intent.
You understand? So the Catholic church will serve a school like this and will sit down and allow the president to say they are doing the priority of priorities project.
National Cathedral.
Called a national cathedral. So much money is being sunk in there. And the church does not see it fit, my Catholic church, to open its mouth to say, Mr. President, this is a piggery that we built, which has been converted into school. And over several years, this is the state of it. Channel the money that you intend to build the National Cathedral into this project.
Yeah.
I'm sure that many of us will come clapping for the Catholic Church for
did
standing with the people and ensuring that we are able to liberate our children from death. I just have to continue to offer hope to these unfortunate siblings of ours who find themselves in this situation and yet are expected by our national laws and by WAEC standards that they should perform at equal par with those who are in privileged schools. There are in most of these communities where people don't even have lights. I had to use and rely on the moon to be able to read books.
The moon?
Moon. When the moon was brightest, then you open your book to flip through your pages.
How often was that?
You can imagine how many times you get the moon in a year. And so because daytime, really you don't have the time. From school you come and then you have to go to the farm.
Yeah.
You return from the farm late and then you have to sleep. So it's just by some divinity that some of us probably are here. And so you went through such the terrible situations. And so you have to inspire and offer hope to these ones that look, despite the conditions that they find themselves in, they can also run to the top and come and sit here with Dafe Makbo and IEC and also talk the way we are doing. And so I encourage them. The other point that I want to establish is that we must, as a nation, rethink the way we look at some of these issues. And if care is not taken, you will go and you will have a situation like we are having in some parts of Nigeria, where people feel that they are not considered as a part of the nation, and therefore they want to take up their own rights. And you see secessionist attempts in many countries. And these are some of the things, because if you look at these clearly, they are largely located within the northern enclaves of Ghana. And that is not good news for us. It is one way people will begin to think that, look, is it worthy to be part of this whole thing? And at the end of the day, these are the circumstances we find ourselves. Now, quickly, let me, if you permit me, to just touch on the flooding. But this morning I was
we have something small on the education. It's small. So if
I am talking about flooding.
Okay.
You can choose.
Well, let's wrap up this conversation on education, then I'll come back to you.
So I think that the Ministry of Education has a lot more to do.
Okay.
To ensure that majority of our schools get face lifted. I think that it's also important to look at the pyramidal structure of our educational system. At the base level, we have nearly 17,000 basic schools.
Yeah.
When you come to the upper level, which is the second cycle schools, you have about 700,000. Now, when you come to the tertiary level, you have less than 50 of them. And so your education system is broad at the base, and you shrink. As you shrink up, what it means is that deliberately you are emasculating a chunk of the people out of and depriving them from getting higher qualification. And when you do so, even those with higher qualifications are not getting placement. Now you don't have any qualification, because from JHS to SHS, you are considered not to have possessed a certificate. And so you see that it is something that we have to look at if we want our nation to get closer, so that we don't have we and them syndrome in our society. And we and them, if you look at it, is the political and then the public class that are able to muscle our national resources for themselves, put the awards into the best of schools. Those who are poor continue to have the awards in the deprived schools. They don't get the qualifications that they are required to. Tomorrow, it turns out that the same class of people will continue to have their children ruling, simply because they are the thieves or the fastest to steal our resources. And I think that it's important to look at how these things are done, so that our educational system is well established.
Definitely.
Yeah,
George?
Sometimes when we make comments like this, it's worrying.
Comments like what?
Thieves and others, and it's worrying.
Oh, you want me to give specificity?
People get opportunities and they take advantage of the opportunity. I keep saying it. He is from the northern sector.
I should give specificity.
Professor D.D. Kupoli, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, sat under tree. The vision of Osajifo said, look, we'll get the infrastructure, but until then, let's get them under tree. Let's get teachers.
I have also sat under tree.
But I just used my example.
I'm coming. So these things, the structural challenges will be there. Okay, when the missionaries came and went to Akropong to start the Presbyterian Training College, were there structures there? No, they decided we're going to start. Get the people under tree. In Fanspen School was started. They just sit under some structure. Okay.
But George,
8 students,
we're celebrating
and today it's one of the big
years
yes, of course,
of independence.
No.
We shouldn't even be having a conversation about children under trees.
No, yes, we shouldn't. But we have it. We have and mission. Today is not the first time I'm watching Mission.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Mission has been bringing out a lot. These will be fixed.
But George,
Mission will delve in and bring another one.
Hold on, Council, please. I'll let you come in.
No, not my outfit matter. I'm talking about the education infrastructure angle. You see, the investment that this government has made there, TVET, STEM education, go there, speak to the minister, speak to the director general. You get it?
Okay.
So these are issues that the data can easily be verified. You can check it. That's why I said.
No, but you should have those details for us.
Yes.
I mean, we know that you constantly, as a government, talk about 1.2 million children having access to free SHS. But beyond that, what are the statistics that back the other infrastructure investments and all the other investments?
I told you about the 1.5 billion mortgage there, and he.
But that clearly is even problematic. The fact that we're
secondary school infrastructure,
we're mortgaging some of these very key revenues that we need.
Classroom infrastructure. Okay, go across the country. It's there, secondary education.
Okay.
So please, and we are focusing on TVET so that a lot of our people will not be left. Okay.
So you're saying every secondary school got a structure? Because we have about 820 secondary schools.
School infrastructure, one may have about 5, another school may not have at all. You get it? So
you've touched every secondary school. You have provided infrastructure in every secondary school?
Almost every secondary school. Almost every secondary school, including the big schools. Okay? So sometimes I listen and I say, why are we doing this to ourselves? This is a government that has invested so much in education infrastructure, okay, at the tertiary level. Go check UMass, okay, where it was and where it is today.
But University of Ghana is just here. University of Ghana is just here. They are having challenges. Look at how students are even rioting.
The numbers, okay? It doesn't mean there's not been addition of infrastructure.
There has been addition of infrastructure at the University of Ghana.
Yes.
When was this done? When was this done at University of Ghana?
So please,
George,
that's what I'm saying.
Let's just use University of Ghana as case study.
A lot.
No, you just touched on University of Ghana.
All the universities are having infrastructure.
So, for example, KN University of Ghana.
Yes.
What kind of infrastructure, developments have we brought there in recent times?
This government is committed funds to additional facilities to all the institutions.
No, but that's why I'm zooming in on these two.
I don't have the data before me, and I wouldn't.
But you are very sure that the University of Ghana, there has been some infrastructure development there.
All of them.
And students are rioting because they are not getting access to their halls.
Check it. The number of students, at the University of Ghana, it's not easy. And this Katanga Hall issue and then Commonwealth issue that they are going to blend them, mix up, and the students are not happy with that. That alone can engender
but that's aside. Even the fact that that's aside.
It's not about discipline. It's about disciplinary matters. No. Okay, we know the university authorities have spoken about they want to tame Commonwealth, and of course your people Casford, Commonwealth, and then Katanga. They want to tame them. You get it? And they said no. He sitting here will not agree.
No, we will
all the way to Cape Coast and do what he has to do.
We will be there.
But it's administrative matter. So some of these challenges are there.
But these students will have to go and find hostels to live in.
Of course, no hostels.
But George, you know that if we had enough buildings or halls for all the students, even if we want to mix them up, we won't leave them to go and rent a hostel. We'll move them to another infrastructure building or something.
Yes,
but we don't even have it.
He cited the example of Zanzibar that Lee Kuan Yew also did that. If you want to move people under 2011 thereabout, I will come to the NADMO issue. The government then wanted to resettle the Glefe people. You get it, the Glefe people and co. But the land matter became an issue, and so they had to abandon that project. Maybe we'll talk about that later.
So you say that every university in this country has experienced some level of development,
some infrastructure development,
expansion.
Some. So once you're adding, you are. It is an expansion. I'd be glad if you had those details for us. and those opportunities.
Okay, I know council wants to come in.
But before the council comes in, let him answer. He says something, and I'm aware because of my proximity.
Okay, what did he say?
This common fund thing. He has, as MP, he still has authority. He's right that they are DC and the coordinator, but without his say so, they cannot expend the money.
Who told you?
Without his say so, because they will need your authority to be able to.
What
do you want them to invest in? They will do that. That's what they do. They control. The MPs control that.
Okay,
it's not much. I agree with you.
All right,
but without his say so, they cannot.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll let council respond to this.
Council will not respond to this. We are going to independent.